I had an established pattern before Ford Street. Look, I've been to prison on 5 different prison terms. I've done 32 parole violations. So I've been to San Quentin 37 times in my life. Everything is drugs. Everything I ever went for, even the crimes that I went to prison for that weren't drugs, were drugs. I was on drugs. That was my pattern. Ford Street broke that pattern for me. 100% broke that pattern for me.
Ford Street Project has 3 main focus areas. The largest is the residential treatment program that exists at the Ukiah Recovery Center. That's a 24/7 operation. Those folks are there in recovery for 30, 60, 90 days, and that's where our sober living environment is as well.
Half the people that come to Ford Street started drinking under 18. A quarter of the people started drinking and using drugs under the age of 13. I don't think there's a family in the county that doesn't have a good friend or someone in their family that has a drug and alcohol addiction.
From like 10, 11, until we got put into foster care when I was, I think, 15, I just was exposed to like this crazy, ridiculous, awful lifestyle. And my mom started using with me young, and I took that immediately on as my new favorite pastime because it gave me a little separation from what was happening around me. I think I probably would have taken my own life if I wasn't able to get high every day when I was younger, because my life was unbearable.
My dad was an alcoholic, and watching him like kill himself like really depressed me and hurt me a lot, and so like I kind of withdrew into using and drinking myself. When he passed away, I kind of like went off the deep end for like 10 years. And I ended up in jail a lot, and yeah, even ended up in prison at one point.
Detoxing for 5 days is not the answer to anything. The methadone programs, I don't think, are statistically helpful. I do know what works. It's months of sobriety and therapy. Months of sobriety and therapy.
Being an addict, having a sober living environment to kind of get back into society, get a job, and using the skills that they taught you in the residential treatment, that's what it is. That's what did it right there.
It does take time when you're starting really from less than square one to rebuild your life. Sober living is really the best and safest answer and opportunity for folks. There are times that we don't have another sober living bed. And so someone who's genuinely worked hard to attain their sobriety will end up in a situation exposed and triggered to drug use again. At least 40% of the people who are coming in to the Ukiah Recovery Center are unhoused and unemployed. We're anxious to expand because I think that almost eliminates a wait list situation. That's why we're working hard to make sure we attain the funding for sober living.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is a huge accomplishment and milestone for us as we begin the construction of the first phase of our expansion.
Since 1974, think about that, on the Ford Street Project, through thick and thin, has been here providing services to the Mendocino County community. With the addition in 2015 of the Recovery Center, Ford Street's been able to add additional services helping people continue on their journey to health. It's wonderful to be able to stand here on the grounds of where will be the future treatment pavilion. This is truly an amazing program and a lifeblood to so many who have experienced the services here.
Ford Street has a really good working relationship with the local tribes. We benefit from a close partnership and historical partnership with Martin Martinez, who is regularly on site and assisting.
There's no native spiritual leaders that go to a lot of these rehab centers. I come here and I bring that here to Ford Street, and the clients that I get to sit with come from all different nations. And I teach them, we're not going to look at each other as a color or a race. We're going to deal with the human being and we're going to deal with what you experienced in life.
I am a licensed marriage family therapist, and I own a business here in town called Young for Life Health and Wellness Center. Once a month, the residents of Ukiah Recovery Center come and they lay down on the floor, and I teach them skills for settling their nervous system and learning how to use their own breath, their own fingers, their own bodies to figure out, like, how do I be in this body without putting a needle in my arm or a pipe in my lips?
So with the Ukiah Recovery Center, the way I work with them is I immediately introduce myself as an addict. I tell parts of my story that I think will help them understand that I am with them completely. People have said, I've never felt this relaxed ever in my life, or I didn't know that I could sit here and not feel physical pain. So for them to have a snapshot of healing and real, true juiciness in their bodies, like, that is incredible.
I work with the residential clients and the sober living environment clients, and they come out on a weekly basis to work in the garden. The produce from the garden goes into the kitchen and is used for meals. And then I also do some classes for the residential treatment folks.
Throughout my entire life, I found gardening to be a very excellent, therapeutic, interesting thing to do. So as far as the recovery process, it fits right in with it. You know, it's something to do when you're clean.
I mean, I was almost 40 years old when I went to 4th Street. So more than half my life, that was my pattern. 4th Street broke that pattern for me. Now I think about it, I'll start to get teary-eyed. It saved my life, really. I mean, I white-knuckled it from that day I quit in prison till I got out and was in 4th Street. I white-knuckled it, but I couldn't have white-knuckled it that long or this long, you know what I'm saying?
If I could go from that trailer park girl to this woman, what else is possible? Like, December 26th, I will have 30 years clean. What the heck? So that's so beautiful.
I feel like I don't really want to leave Ukiah because I have a support group here and like a network of clean people to be around. And it's really important to me because that's the only way I'm going to be able to get back in my daughter's life, to be a good father to her. I got to keep staying on this path, the path of recovery, and I'll be able to be back in my daughter's life. And that's a really good feeling. I wouldn't have that feeling if it wasn't for this place. Yeah, I'm just glad. I'm glad that I'm here and not somewhere else.
There are folks that grew up here, went to school here, may have gone away and come back. I mean, there's a sense of home. And a sense of home, even when you're in transition and creating a new life, is really helpful. This is a special place, and there are folks that have been underserved, likely, that other folks are really anxious to help.
Because we like to believe that we're strong on our own. We're not. People need help. People need other people. That's what that program does. That's what it did for me. It gave me strength. I got love for 4th Street for life. So I'm always gonna direct people to go there because it totally changed my life. Totally changed my life.